Hey, what's up, everyone, and welcome to the Deceptor Lab. It's your boy Freeze, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody that's living in the United States. Happy World Cup week for everybody else all over the world, and welcome to the live stream for the week. Got some good content I feel like coming to you this week, and let's go take a look at some of the things that we're going to be talking about. So there was a really big change to a particular combat bot. There's some changes to Fireline for the Decepticons Top Shot for the Autobots, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. And then I wanted next week's the endurance event, so I wanted to get into a little bit of endurance prep. And yeah, there was some comments that I had just talking to people in Discord in regards to power leveling. So I wanted to show some different ways to power level, so we'll talk about that a little bit today, and we'll just see how the evening goes. You know how we do over here in the lab. And so before we do that, let's go take a look at this week's newsletter. All right. So this week we have the event called Tactical Substitutions This is season 8, week 7. And let's see. So the first message is talking about Happy Thanksgiving. You can see the artwork. That's the same artwork that I used for my thumbnail this week. And it's an individual totalizer this week. 15K to complete, 10 prestiges. And the focus this week is going to be on combiner pieces. So, yeah, you can win some crystals to get a lot of the different combiners: Superion, Devastator, Optimus Maximus and Bruticus, Volcanicus and Predaking, Victorion, Minosaur, Defensor and Abominus, Computron and Lyokaiser, which I need that. I still need that 4-star Leozak. I need that 4-star Dead End also. So, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Mac, the Boss, and Tripredacus, and Skyrene and Galvatronus. And the Professional Husky says Dupe City. Yeah, I can't say that I'm going to argue with you about that. I think that's probably accurate. But I'm still going to keep my fingers crossed, man. I said I'm down to, I think, five 4 stars that I need. 2 of them on this list. So we'll see how it goes, man. Little bit of opportunity here. Typical battle zones. And oh man, here we go. So game updates and information. And so Space Ape sends the message out, says not all doom and gloom. And for those of you that are part of the Discord channels, you know what they're talking about. They're talking about that Fireline and Top Shot. Essentially what I would consider a nerf. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And let's see, upscale and bundle value. So after Black Friday is done, we'll be having a baseline of 2 times value in all our bundles. Previously, we put double value a few times a month, but now it's going to be the baseline. So bot bundles should be getting a little bit of an upgrade, so that's good. It's going to be increased drop rates, and I'm not going to read all that out, but you can see if you've seen the newsletter. I know Professional Husky just did newsletter on his he's doing premieres now. He doesn't do like the live streaming, but he does the premieres, which is really good. And that's one of the things that we were looking at on his. So yeah, that's gonna be good addition to the game. The big news this week has been the class shards for the new rank up bot system. And they're talking about that a little bit. They actually talk about that a little bit more in the newsletter later on, so I'm not going to hit that too hard. Double character shards is going to start with the content push tomorrow. So, you talk about stuff that you're thankful for. As far as the game is concerned, I'm thankful for that the double character shards will occur so that we are able to go work towards these new ranks. And so it actually talks about the new ranks, and they got some really nice looking icons for that, man. So you can actually see the different insignias up there. But the key thing that you want to take away from this is that you'll start off as a private, so you start off at the low rank, and there'll be no additional boost for that. Then to start out, they're going to have corporal and sergeant. So corporal is going to have plus 5% health, plus 5% DPS standard, and then the sergeant is going to have plus 10 DPS and health. And just really cool insignia. So right now I'm looking at the air class, so the Autobot and the Decepticon air class symbols, and then they got the Autobot air class, corporal, and sergeant symbols along with the Decepticon. So man, really nice artwork. Actually, it looks like they did. Yeah, it looks like they did those twice. I didn't even notice that when they first sent out the newsletter, but they look like they did each of those twice. Then we got all of our official content creators, Aero DJ Hart, which for those of you who are a fan of Aero DJ Hart, I actually was checking out his YouTube community posting the other day. He is going to be making content again soon. It's been about 3 months. So if you're a fan of his, click on the link. He's going to start making more content soon. Hopefully Frankster gets in there with him. They had a really entertaining show. Engineer Horst is always making his content. Grind Time, who I'm not sure if he's going to be on tonight. I didn't ask him, but he's usually on right after I'm on, so definitely check him out. Soldier got some good content out. I was just actually watching one of his videos today, and of course the legend himself, Sunstreaker Waza, is always constantly making content, and so a really good person for advice. A guy that I talk to pretty regularly, and great guy to play test with. So check out his videos as well. In addition to all our unofficial guys, and we got a lot of unofficial content creators right here in the stream tonight. I'm already looking. Professional Husky is out here. The Terror of Titano, who's been on fire as of late, is he's on here. And as well as Victory Star Saber's got some really, really good content, and a bunch of other guys, To Punish and Enslave, really great channels. And a lot of those guys, you can actually see them on my channel. I got the links to all of their stuff on my channel. Community Corner. You got some cool stuff in there. Text to Titan got some stuff in here. That's a nice little coin they got. I really, really like that coin. They got a 1984, the Optimus Prime coin. And some other cool artwork. Alright. So the saga schedule. This is week 7 out of 8. So individual event for Thanksgiving holiday in the States, and then next week is the endurance event. Now we want to talk about some of these bug fixes. And so the biggest one they're going to talk about is Top Shot and Fireline. So what I want everybody to understand about this whole situation is this. And I don't necessarily agree with it. I'm going to start with that. But Top Shot and Fireline. Hold on, guys. Give me a second. My dog is in here going crazy. Let me get him calmed down real quick. Just stick with me. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that, guys. So for Top Shot and Fireline, the problem they were having is, so there was a bug that was going around. They changed some coding on Space Ape's end, and what happened is last weekend, I don't know if you guys noticed, Top Shot and Fireline were a little bit overpowered. So in the process of fixing that, what they noticed was that there was actually, let me go to the game screen real quick, because I want to pull it up so you can see what the tooltip says. All right, so I'm going to look at it real quick, because on that tooltip, one of the things that we're looking at, alright, I gotta find, it's back here, and I want to pull up this tooltip as I'm looking at it, because I feel like that's important, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. Alright, so when you look at his tooltip, it says set the area on fire and cause fire damage equal to a percentage of the bot space DPS value every second for 5 seconds. So the argument the Space Ape is making is that nowhere in there does it say you're gonna have any kind of type of normal damage with that. So so what's essentially is happening is the normal DPS is being removed, and you'll have basically a reduced damage. In this case, I got the maxed out 4-star on the screen, so you get 94% of just fire damage all of the time, and to the target, and then to the AOE. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. So the normal damage, it was given normal damage. That normal damage is going away, and was already going away. And so that's what we're really looking at when they're talking about this in the newsletter. Now, if you have a 5-star, hey Husky, I gave you the mod spot up there. Can you get rid of the spam bots, please? But so with Top Shot and Fireline, that's what we're kind of looking at, is really just getting just the fire damage. Now I'll tell you what I think about that stuff, and in a little bit. But SG Steeljaw and SG Ravage, they're also working on, and they've been given on defense. They weren't working the way they wanted. They were losing their range, and so that's going to be worked. Trip Up and Roller Force, one of my favorite combat bots, Roller Force, is going to be on there as well. And he's on the list because he wasn't following the Meg Rush or the Optimus Prime Rush, and he also, the speed boost just wasn't working. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. And then Titan Tree perks, they said they fixed the issue with the perks increasing normal damage, not increasing fire beam and electric damage. And then they've suspended the trading characters for 2-star and 3-star bots. And this is because they got some other stuff in work in the background. And they got some performance improvements up there. This is really vague. I'm not even going to read through that. As I find out more information from the playtest side of things, I will talk to you guys about it. And that's what we got for this week's news. All right, so let's go over to the battlefield again, and we will talk a little bit about what's going on with Fireline. All right, so first off, before we do that, let's go see what's going on in the chat. And so we have Lord Avix is in there, as always. Lord Avix is first. He says first again because that's like his personal goal, is to come in here first. So welcome, Professional Husky, one of my moderators and good friends and content creators that I follow closely. He's in the chat, as well as you already probably figured, as well as Terra of Titano. I already talked about a couple of good content creators in here. Terra Titano. Let's see who else. Victory Star Saber. Lord Agrippa is in here, who says, "What's up, Decepticons and Autobot scum?" And so yeah, man, so that's what we got so far. And it's actually funny. It's actually and we got the sex bot, the spam bot up here as well. So you're not welcome, but we'll take care of that as it goes along. All right, guys. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on with Top Shot and Fireline. So first off, if you're in the chat, go ahead and tell me in the chat what you're thinking about this, what we can consider a nerf, and what do you think about the changes to Top Shot and Fireline? Let me know in the chat, and we will discuss. All right, so while we do that, let me actually go show what we're looking at here, and let me see, I guess I can run a base trial for that. Alright, so I got a couple of different bots. I got Terramanda up here also, and I'll tell you right now, I don't think this bot is anywhere near ready for our endurance event. But we're working on it. We made a lot of progress today, so I'm not going to be showing Terramander today. It's so don't ask. I'm not going to really show him off today, but hopefully I can get him shown off before the end of the week, depending on how Space Ape works on him. If not, you'll definitely see him from me next week. Professional Husky asks the questions. I actually missed it the first time. He says, "Do I have a 5-star blowpipe?" Yeah, I got a 5-star blowpipe. I got all of them from that batch, and I'm actually going to talk about blowpipe a little bit tonight because I think he's actually a really, really good combat bot, depending on how you use him. Kill Cannon has joined the chat. Thanks for joining us. All right, so let's see. I think I have that 4-star maxed out Fireline on Brawl. So we'll check him out. And Lord Agrippa is asking what nerf. So Fireline, what we're talking about is Fireline and Top Shot were not working according to the tooltip, and so what we're looking at is he had some additional damage. He was getting normal damage in addition to some of the fire damage that's listed in the tooltip. So a lot of people are calling it a nerf because, it's been that way for like 2 years, man. Like it's been the same way, and I understand why players are upset. So if you have the 5-star version, they're actually offering you a refund on your combat bot, and so they'll give you back 5K of your combat chips, and they also will give you back your combat spark that you spent on it. But you got to do it this week. All right, so I'm gonna go bust out with my Nemesis Prime and Brawl, and I want to zoom in a little bit on Brawl and the damage that he's doing. So first off, let me get him some protection. And you can see it's taking him a little bit longer to get some of these targets down compared to where he was at, about a week ago. And so what they're saying is, like, right now he's targeting an autocannon. That autocannon is not would receive normal damage. Now he's not receiving normal damage. He's just strictly receiving the fire damage. I lied to you. You can actually see Terramander up there in my outpost, but that's nothing more than what you saw on the Space Ape stream. So, yeah. I gotta move this. So that's what we're talking about, just so everybody's clear. So, yeah. So, looking at the chat, Husky wants to know who I have blowpipe on. Well, blowpipe was out there on that Nemesis Prime I was just using, and I'm actually gonna talk about that a little bit, because one of the things that I like when you're looking at Nemesis Prime is, and it's a real small thing, but it turns into a big thing, is that I actually had it on the 4-star, so I didn't have it on him. So how I normally equip this is I have blowpipe on Nemesis Prime, and it's a bunch of different combos that I use for my Nemesis Prime. So what I want to talk about is my favorite combo I like to use is the Alchemist Prime Core with blowpipe. And the reason why I like that is because he's got a nice little damage increase. Blowpipe has been reworked. A lot of Prime League hard mode players still don't like blowpipe, but I do, because one of the things that you have to be able to do when you're using blowpipe is you have to try to protect whatever bot it is you have that is equipping blowpipe. And so Nemesis Prime, who else better than to use an ability 11 Nemesis Prime, because he can become invulnerable as long as there's no FFDs around. So what I typically do is I run him, and the complaint that comes in is this: Nemesis, or not Nemesis Prime, but Blowpipe is going to make your bot come closer to the defenses, and nobody wants that. You know, they want ranged attackers that stay back away from the defenses. So I'll show you my theory behind the blowpipe real quick before we start talking about some of the other stuff. Alright, so here's my Nemesis Prime. I actually got a blowpipe equipped on him right now. And so this is actually two of my bots that I use in my war team. You got blowpipe and you got brawl. And I use, you know, when I look at blowpipe is going to give you at a 5-star level maxed out a 32% increase. Now with Nemesis Prime, he can't exactly equip all of your ranged combat bots. And so what I do is I have him protect himself and a buddy, like I do here with Brawl. And then I use that Alchemist Prime Core to maximize the healing that I get from the Alchemist Prime Core. Now he's going to creep up a little bit, but one thing that I noticed is he still is going to use his rifle. And so what that does is that gives him an element of protection in terms of just adding to his range by keeping him back temporarily, so that he doesn't outpace the rest of the team by too much. You can see that Brawl catches back up to him, and then you still get your wall busting and everything right now. And so I think it's fantastic. I think Blowpipe is someone that you should use on your war teams, to be honest. And I know that that's something that most people don't really care for as a combat bot, but he actually is much better because, like, I can take certain combat bots. I can use Nemesis Prime and I can use Fracas, for example. But what am I losing out on? I can use Fracas on a lot of bots, and it would be phenomenal. So why do I want to use that on Nemesis Prime? I'm probably going to lose a little tiny bit of range, and I don't want to do that. I'd rather use them on one of my gunners. I'm trying to get my 5-star Fracas once they add them to the badge. So it gives you different options. Like for me, I don't like, and this is what I was talking about when you look at the Fireline situation. People was like, oh, I'd rather use a 5, 4, and 3-star Fireline than any of the other combats. And I was like, well, if I got a 5-star combat like Crater Maker, or I got a 5-star combat like Fracas, I'm using them. And so that's what we're looking at more so than anything else. And so that's what I think about Blowpipe. Let's go take a look at the chat and see what everybody's talking about. So we were talking about the nerf to Fireline and Top Shot. And they say, didn't they try nerfing Fireline once before and it didn't work or something like that? So it wasn't that they were trying to nerf him. They were trying to fix a problem that they created by working on other stuff, and which happens from time to time. So they weren't actively trying to nerf him. But here's what I do think, and Space Ape says this is not the case, but I want to look at a couple of things, and this is why I want to show you. Actually, I want to go to my live server for a second because I want to show you guys what I'm actually doing live server. Because if you guys been watching me for a little bit, you know that I've been saving my 5-star chips, and there's a reason for that. So let's go take a look at my live server. I was just on the test server, stuff like that. Oh yeah, I'll go get that later on. I won't worry about that. So let's see. Decepticons. So this is the only batch. I had to clear this whole batch out to go get Crater Maker. And I got him maxed out. I saved for that, plant for that. This is what I don't like. And Alpha Trion 1 has joined the chat. Thanks for joining us and welcome. So when I look at Legacy 2, and a lot of people that I know chased Fireline, and they got all these other bots. They got Razor Sharp and Overkill and Shroot and Calibers, and most people don't like Calibers. Most people don't like Overkill. Most people don't like Razor Sharp. Now I know I was having a conversation with some of the guys in my Discord server, and Razor Sharp's pretty good, but is Razor Sharp like elite? You know. And even for me now, at this point, if you guys saw my combat bot video that I made, just saying my top 10 and everything, I'm not even that high on Shroot anymore. I use minion combat bots on my healers. You know, now I got Hook on Growl. I think Calibers may potentially come back up soon because Space Ape is saying that we're gonna have to rely on combos a little bit more heavily. But I mean, let me know in the chat if you got Caliburst on your war teams. I don't see Caliburst out there that often, so then that just leaves Fireline. So and now Fireline, we've got a reduced version of Fireline because it wasn't working as according to the tooltip. So for me, I've never wanted to be in that batch because I already named the other bots. And at one point I was like, oh man, Shroot, we got a healer combat. Yeah, this is exciting. But then I got to the point where I say I'm not using them. I'm using minions. Overkill's not that good. Razor Sharp is cool, but I was like, I don't need him. And so one of the things that I start looking at is, well, maybe I shouldn't go into that batch just to chase Fireline. But I'll tell you something else. And I said there was a lot of warning signs that were there. And I'm going to show you some of those warning signs to me that told me that there could have been a potential nerf down there. Now, it's 2 videos that I made that I've been saying this the whole time. And if you're one of my diehard fans like you guys are that are in the chat, you saw there's 2 videos that every person on my channel should check out. One of them was the Transformers Nerf Wars video that I made and how to navigate it. And the other one was my combat bot video that I made. Now, the Transformers Nerf Wars one was about 7 months ago. So, and I was warning everyone that, hey, elemental damage is under attack. And we knew that because 7 or 8 months ago, Space Ape made an active approach to revamp the entire wiki. And they took that wiki and they said, we need to identify every single element. And they asked us for our help, and we gave help and everything like that. But I always am leery when I say, well, we want to identify certain characteristics of the game. We want to identify elements. So I felt the elemental damage is under attack. But one of the things that I look at is I look at like the Titan lab, and I look at the Titan abilities, and I look at when the Titan came out there, they have a fire resistance. And so that's a 20% passive fire reduction over time for you and your allies, right? But wait, there's more, because then you go into the Titan tech tree, very, very late in the tech tree, and you have this. On defense, you have a fire and acid damage resistance, which I don't have maxed out yet. But already at level 3, it's at 20%. And I'm just looking around and I'm just like, well, 15%. Level 4 is 20%. Level 5 is 25%. So you just keep trying to attack fire and acid damage. And we already looked at 2 ways just from the Titan alone, potentially. So then you have to go look at Prime League hard mode, and around that same time that I started questioning this, they had your war effects. You had war effects in there that were saying, hey, fire damage is going to take a hit. And by the way, I'm going back to the test server, guys, because I want to highlight another point on here. So then we go to our build bots, and they build the fireproof dome, and I showed this on my last stream, I believe. Fireproof dome, maxed out, G metal, protects nearby buildings from 56% of fire damage. And then the build bot itself receives 0 fire damage. Now, regardless of anything that Space Ape says, there's nothing in my mind that tells me, when you look at all those things that I just mentioned, that they didn't believe that Fireline and Top Shot were overpowered and they needed a way to combat bot. There's no way. All the writing was on the wall to me when I go look at all of these things. And that's what I was talking about in the Transformers Nerf Wars video. That's what I was talking about in the Combat Bot video. Everybody kept saying, oh man, Top Shot is the best, Top Shot is the best, Top Shot is the best. I would not put him as my best combat because I knew that there was too many ways to counter him. That writing was on the wall that whole time, and I'm not surprised in any capacity that he got nerfed. Let me know in the chat what you think. Do you think that there's some validity with it to what I'm saying? Why are there so many fire and acid reductions in the game? Let me know. And I'll go check on other things that you guys were talking about in the chat. So he's saying, let's see. So Husky is asking, he says, whatever new 5-star combat bots you'll pick. So yeah, I'm going for that new combat batch. So I've been talking about it a couple of times up here. What I'm waiting for is this batch, and I talk about it usually about once per stream or so. This batch, and this is my test account, so I get all this extra stuff. So, you know, that's my disclaimer. But the combat should be pretty much the same. And so what I'm waiting for is for this batch to break up. That is too large of a batch. It's reducing my odds. But I tell you what, all of these guys that I've got highlighted, Baru, I want. Roller Force, now that they fixed him, I want. Zori, I'm not too high on, and if he's the last one I get out of that batch, I will abandon that batch. But I don't hate him. Growl, I want. And Fracas, I want. So when I go to my live server, I'm almost at enough chips to have 3 combat bots. And I'm not going to be disappointed with any of them other than, and I won't even call that a disappointment, but any of them other than Zori, I want when it gets to that point where they're the last 5, because Growl's should be in that batch as well. The rest of this batch, as much as I like Singe and SG Ravage and even Slugfest and Heartburn, I can't justify chasing that batch for my playstyle. But I can definitely justify chasing Baru. I can definitely justify chasing Roller Force. I can definitely justify chasing Growl. So and Victory Star Saber is kind of making a point that Sean McKeon says no sound. Can you guys hear me okay? Because I said I'm showing sound on this end. But Victory Star Saber makes a point. He says, what's the point with the fire attacks at this point with so many ways to counter it? I think that, now here's what I was thinking, that it was so, that Fireline was so strong, Top Shot was so strong that you could still use them. You could just go in there and use them despite all those counters. Now when you look at it again, and we'll go back to that Titan tech tree. With the Titan tech tree, or not even the Titan tech tree, with the ability, it's an option to use fire resistance. But who actually was using fire to begin with for me to feel that it was that important for me to go use fire resistance? Oh, okay, that was Sean McKeon's Bluetooth. I was like, man, people been talking to me this whole time, bro. I was like, you sure? All good, man. It actually happens to me a lot, Sean. Like there are times, especially when I'm trying to watch anime or something, and I'm trying to get sound to come out of the phone. And what'll happen is I got Bluetooth, and I got a couple of new Bluetooth speakers, and what'll happen to me is they will just go to those because I didn't turn them off or something like that. And I'm just like, dude, what happened to the sound? And then I realized I got my speakers. I came in the range of my speakers that I didn't turn off, so I get it. Lord Agrippa says Fracus is amazing. Yes, he is. Fracus, I will stop anything that I'm doing combat bot wise to go get Fracus. And one of the things that I feel like everybody should be doing if they want to replace their Fireline and Top Shot, I think you have to wait for us cons. We gotta wait for Fracus to show back up. Man, I'm drawing a blank, man. Old person moment. Who's the Autobot version of Fracus? Because he is you gotta go after him, man. Like right now, it's urgent. So I'm gonna show you what I did. I'm gonna go back to my main account and I'm gonna show you what I did. Because yeah, I think it's important. I had a 5-star creator maker that I was not using for a minute. And the reason why I wasn't using him was because I felt like I had a better thing with some of my other bots, to be honest. So this is my current war team. And so for me, I actually ran with a 3-star Fracus for a little bit on Brawl. And when I look at that 3-star, so the 200%, that's standard. If you look at my Brawl, he actually went up to 801 DPS, which is good for HQ17 right now. Nightstick, thank you, Terra. Nightstick and Fracus. Nightstick is the Autobot equivalent. So he's healing for 70%. That's good. And right now at level 7, he's healing, he's giving a 9% increase, which I could take level 8 and I go up to 10%. I'm going to wait. I'm going to hold off. I'm going to wait on the 5-star so I can get to 32%. But that's what I'm doing to kind of change things. Because I wasn't using a 3-star at all. I was using the 5-star. Actually, I'll show you real quick. I'm still using the 4-star on Blast Off. So he's at level 9, the Fracus for Blast Off, 1025 DPS. I can't turn away from that. So I've been talking about individual healing for a little bit. So Blast Off's getting individual healing. He's lasting longer in battle. He's doing a crap ton of damage. And yeah, I really like that pairing. Not willing to part with it, at least not right now. Now, Knockout, I just put my Creator Maker on. So, no big deal there. I'm using Micronus right now. I go back and forth. I can use Primal on him also. I like the healing right now just because of the current meta defensively. But so that's why I'm using Micronus. But I'm saving an ability 11 is coming for Knockout here in hopefully a few weeks. So saving for that. Trying to get him up to level 65 here soon. But Creator Maker works well for that. So that works out really well. And then I go into some more individual healing with Singe on my Cutthroat. He's doing a decent amount of damage. And it's just let's see who else I got the healing. And like I was saying earlier, my Nemesis Prime has my 5-star. He has Blowpipe and Alchemist, so more individual healing. Lord Agrippa asked me the question, in my opinion, is Fireline and Top Shot worth keeping? New combat batches seem like a good idea. So I'm gonna be honest with you. My answer to that is I don't think so. Is he still a decent combat bot? Sure, but is he? He's not gonna be as good as you've gotten used to, and that's a huge adjustment to me. So no, I'm not. I'm keeping. I took him off of Brawl on my war team. Um, I've been advising players in my alliance to take the refund. To be honest, if you got a 5 star, um, I do think that there's less of a nerf opportunity for Fracas. I think that because fire and acid damage are considered the same, you might lose a little bit of your 200% bonus that you get with Fracas. But that's exactly what I just called it. It's a bonus. It's not, you're not depending on that for your attack. And so a lot of people will argue with me this week on Discord and on Line app. But it's a big difference between the possibilities of nerf with Fracas and the possibilities of nerfs with Fireline. So the Fireline, that was a little bit bigger of a risk to me. So, but Lord David says I have the 5-star and the 4-star Fireline both at level 10, and I just sent in a refund request. Yeah, man, you should, and you should use that on that new batch when you get it. But yeah, man, that's the, and I know I went on a little bit of a rant. That's the entirety of what I think about the situation. I understand what Space Ape is saying, and so here's the thing that I need from you guys. When you go see Space Ape make a live stream and you see a tooltip and you have questions, you have to ask those questions to Space Ape, because here's the problem. Those tooltips essentially become a contract between us and them, essentially. Most of the time, Space Ape is going to tell you well, that's not what we had in the tooltip. And they're not wrong. The tooltip is their promise to you. This is how this bot is going to operate. And if it doesn't operate that way, if there's any misconception, like in this case, I think it's a misconception that we were supposed to have that additional damage from Fireline. The tooltips have to be accurate. And as much as I hate it, I feel like sometimes our tooltips turn into novels. But essentially, that's our contract with us and Space Ape, saying, hey, man, this is the way this bot works. That's their promise to us. So we have to make sure, me as a play tester, I'm going to make sure that these tooltips are spot on, that this is exactly how they intended it to be. So, yeah. But, yeah, that's where we're at. And so, there's one more topic I wanted to tackle tonight. And let's see, what server I think I'm on a live server right now. I'm going to go back to my test server. And I want to talk about, let's talk about events, large events. Because, so here's what I ran into this week. I had a couple of people talk to me on Discord. And one of the big issues that we've been having is people are talking about Dead End and Cup, and how we got this new HQ core. And I actually didn't get to show you guys this on stream yet, so I'm gonna move my HQ over to the front for a second so that you can see the HQ core in action, and we will take a look at it. So you got an EMP core that's gonna cause a stun, and I'll do a base trial real quick. And I'll show you what the danger is. So, and while I'm doing that, Titan Titano says, should he try to get a 5-star hunger? No, you shouldn't. It's not gonna, long term, it's not gonna do very well for you. It's just an okay bot. Now, I've seen back when hunger was first came out, there were some players that say, yeah, man, this is pretty good, and they were able to use them, but that meta's come and gone. And I say don't try to go for it unless it's something that you need for combiner piece, but even then, that's pushing it. Wait a minute, well, hunger, yeah. Alright, so we just dropped Deathsaurus here. And I just want you to see how that. So yeah, so right there you can see it kind of applies a stun with that HQ core. And I think that's every 3 seconds that it's going to start doing, or it's going to stun for 3 seconds. And it's a pretty short range that you have on this HQ core. But one of the concerns is that that power core can stop Golden Lagoon. So that's what I'm really looking at right now is, this particular power core, the EMP defense bolt, which I really, really enjoy. I really, really enjoy that power core. People, and it came up in playtest that, hey man, this is going to stop Cup and Dead End Lagoon. And I was like, my response to it was like, yeah, I mean, possibly. If everybody uses it, then yeah, it could. So I was talking to some folks in Discord last night, and they were telling me, I was telling them, it took me a really, really long time to get the 3-star Dead End. And I was saying, so I didn't have the combiner for a while. And I said, I still don't have the 4-star Dead End. And their response was, oh my gosh, that must be so hard for you. Like, they started taking pity on me for not having a 4-star Dead End. And I was like, well, what do you mean? They said, well, that's your ultimate power leveler. And I was like, well, let me go through the list, the bots that I actually use the power level with. So I'm going to go through some ones that I use. And so some of you already pointed out that I got a Golden Lagoon Tantrum up there, right? Yeah, I do have Golden Lagoon on Tantrum right now. And here's why. When I'm doing power leveling for these large events, and I'm going to show you what build I made for Tantrum, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. So right here I got Baru, right? Baru's got you a nice healthy damage increase in there. That carries him up to 601 right there, to level 65 Tantrum. Golden Lagoon core, he's already got a reflective ability. I don't even have the ability 11 running yet, so let's add that. But here's the thing. With the Titan tech tree, warriors have stun immunity. And so even if this power core comes out, I don't care. I don't care because he's not going to get stunned. He's going to keep doing this thing, and he's going to keep reflecting damage, and his ability is going to keep reflecting damage. So let's take a look and see. And I want you guys to see what I'm seeing. Lord Agrippa says that he uses Impactor for power leveling. He's awesome. Yes, he is. And to my point, you don't even need to use a Goon Core for him. I've actually used the Goon Core on him before, and I was like, man, I felt less comfortable than I did with just using the Amalgamous Prime Core on him. To be honest, if we want to be perfectly transparent, I'm just saying, you got options out there. And this is the way that I built my teams for the endurance events. I try to go build around some of these guys. But with this Golden Lagoon Core on Tantrum, it's not bad. You might have some times where range becomes an issue, but he's not going to get stunned. He's a warrior. I've already got warrior stun immunity on him. And honestly, the ability cost is relatively cheap. So all I got to do is just sit here and wait. You can't tell me that it might seem easier to go use Cup or Dead End. But look at that. Works just fine. Actually, it works really great. And you have options, because if you get into a situation where you're worried about, hey man, maybe he's going to take too much damage, you can always change your combat bot. I like to use, because his damage is so low, I like to use Baru. But you got the option of using Pterodactyl. You got the option of doing a lot of things. So that's one of those bots that goes onto my list. Also on my list, so let's try this out. I want to go and I want to use Run Amok. Autobot version, I believe, is Red Alert. Definitely can use that too. And I tell you what, I always brag about it, but I made sure that you could use run amok because I was the one that designed his ability 11. I was the one that gave the idea, the concept for his ability 11, and his ability 11 makes him invulnerable. He makes him his own. He gives him like a little bit of a Nemesis Prime type thing going on. So on top of the fact that you're not going to receive any damage for those, 10 seconds? Yeah, for 10 seconds, you can't be stunned while he's using his ability. And then what you can do is you can go use a bot like Fracus, and you can make sure that he regenerates himself. So when he does get hit, he can rejuvenate himself. So let's check him out with the Goon Coil. And it's actually one of my other buddies that I used to be in an alliance with that put me onto this. And I was like, and he was so thankful when we did design his ability 11 for this exact reason. I said, well, make him invulnerable. The rest of the team, whoever you choose, will be stun free. Titan Terra Titano says, well, he's got pretty good health. Let's look at the stats again, because he's got good health and he's got good damage. Make no mistake. This is a really, really good bot regardless. But I say, so I got him level 10 up there. So he's got decent damage but good health. And so when you go, it's a damage that you want to add to by using a bot like that. But once you get into that 700 range or so, you're starting to say, hey man, this dude can take down a base by himself. He's got good range on his ability. So I'm not trying to look down on Dead End or Cup, but there are ways to approach this that you can just use the same bot over and over and over again and take down zone 14, which is what I'm doing here. So I'm going to use run amok here. Same type of layout, similar layout to the last base, and I'm just going to allow him. Now with Fracus, one thing I did notice is that he kind of gets out of range for his ability sometimes, so you might have to wait a second to damage something so you can actually move forward. That comes with the territory. Now obviously it's not going to be a Titan there when you're in an event. But it's a cheap enough ability, and he's invulnerable long enough for you to just go in there and take care of business in most cases. And then when I see that he starts taking damage again, I can just go and use his ability again. He's invulnerable for 10 more seconds, and I can just take that base straight down. And it's not even a thought in my mind. I can do this for an entire weekend if I choose to. So there's options out there. It's not, and one of the comments that I got was like, well, that'll change the economy of the game if we can't use dead end in the events. But the truth is, we got options out there, guys. We got a lot of options. So one of the ones that came up in the chat was we were talking about Impactor. And I use Impactor. You guys probably are tired of seeing me use Impactor on this streams. But I'm going to use them. So stun, if you want to get stun immunity, apply Vertebreak. We'll go in there and get us a little Amalgamous Prime core action going on. And boom. Yeah. Terror of Titano says he might go after Run Amok. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about that whole batch. Victory Star Saber talking about Trigger Happy. I like that batch. Honestly, and for me, it's between that batch or me chasing Blot, and I can't go wrong with either batch, man. I'm gonna be honest. I'm waiting to see what's coming out in the new batch to see if it's something that's more alluring. But yeah. Last couple of 5-star batches have been absolute fire, guys. Like I'm not even going to front of you. These are Prime League hard mode bots that are coming out there in these batches lately. So I don't even need a Guncore for Impactor. I can just let him just run. You can just let him, and he's my power leveler. I got him maxed out for the time being until they add the extra level 66 and 67. He's a stud. He's just a stud. And so when you look at him, because of the damage multiplier when he gets hit, and the damage multiplier from the explosions and the ability 11, and his high health and high damage, with a little bit of help from Break, nobody's stopping this guy. You can go pair him up with a buddy, and you can just power level until the sky turns purple, to be honest. So you don't have to use just Dead End and Cup. Victory Star Saber says, the only bot in batch A I didn't like was Swoop. He just dies too quickly, but he's great for defense. That's what I want him for. And I wanted his G1 for years. And I finally got the G1 for, a bot for us on the con side is Scourge. And I wanted that. I finally got it. And I was like, dude, I only had the 4-star version of the bot. Like, once they put him in that 5-star batch, I knew I was going to eventually get the G1. But I want him for defense. I really, really do. And I know there's some people who can snipe, Scourge, and Swoop. But there's a lot of people who can't. And I want to take advantage of those people, to be honest. Alright, so speaking about Impactor, you can do everything you can do with Impactor. For the most part, you can do with Avocado or Marta Megatron and Laser Optimus. So I'm not going to show that on the stream, but he's on my list. And another one, surprisingly, that I've actually had success with the Guncore is my main man. You know his name, and it is going to be, where is he? Oh, it's Power Star rating. My main man, Ramjet. I've had good success with the Guncore. Now here's the thing, you can run into some traps with him also, so it depends on your combat bots. I'm gonna actually try him a couple ways now. Typically everybody uses Catgut with him. Man, I'll use Baru Catgut. If you're worried about his health, you can use Pterodactyl, but I Guncore him because he can get from point A to point B very, very quickly. So let's try it, see what it looks like. Now, I hate that everybody stopped using this guy because of the MSMs. Because if you are careful, actually using Ramjet is actually really, really easy. And it's so easy to me that I made an entire video about sack strategy, and a lot of it I talked about Ramjet, because with only 4 MSM mines per base, it's still doable, and it's really easy to predict, to be honest, in most cases. And why is it showing the Guncore on both? That's a bug. It's showing the Guncore on Ramjet and on Run Amok. And Doja Cat has joined the chat. What's going on, buddy? Thanks for joining. Alright, so Guncore, Ramjet, great range. Same thing. So when I talk about Ramjet, I'm also talking about other range sack bots typically, like Lugnut would be fantastic for this as well. But then I go sneak in somewhere like this, and this base is coming down. There's no doubt in my mind. And I'm going to bring it down quickly because I got Baru. Boom. I mean, That's that. That didn't even take a whole minute. Terror of Titano says, "Hey, I got a 4-star Ramjet on my war team. Yeah, I mean, if you're using it exclusively for sack, it works. I use it on my event teams frequently. All right, and the last one I want to talk about is another one you guys hear me talk about a lot, but another one. Now I'm not gonna gun core him, but I love using Nemesis Prime. Nemesis Prime is a great power leveler just because you can just keep spamming his shield and protect himself and Brawl. And so if you do like I do and you give him the Alchemist Prime core maxed out, he's going to heal himself as well. So those times that he does take damage, you can just go right back in there and heal himself back up. So I like to use him with a gunner. And so for me, because they're my war team bots, I like to use him and Brawl. Like right now, Nemesis Prime is actually the bot that I'm power leveling. So I'm calling Nemesis Prime the power leveler, but he's actually the one that's receiving the leveling right now. And then I can go have the additional XP later on from Brawl when we get additional levels. But nobody's touching Nemesis Prime and a gunner, with the exception of the fact that you got to watch out for FFD, which you honestly are likely to see less of. Now I still got Fireline on him. That's going to change to Fracas on a live server, but what's done is done. They can't. You can't even hit these guys. So. But some of the options that I'm giving you guys, you don't even need the Lagoon Core 4. You can just go in there. Like, I can just run Nemesis Prime. I can just run Armada Megatron. I can just run Impactor. And I don't even need the Goon Core. This is how I prepare for events. I try to go take advantage of bots like this. And those are who I put on my teams together. And that blowpipe accelerates the damage done by Nemesis Prime. And I can just sit here and I can just watch this all day. Like, I won't have the Titan in the event. But yeah. Nemesis Prime, because as long as you get rid of the FFD, that's that. You will never have that problem again. I can promise you that. You never have a problem getting through a base with Nemesis Prime and a gunner. And that's what I've been using. I've been using Nemesis Prime and Knockout. I've been using Nemesis Prime and any gunner I can find. And a couple of other bots too. So yeah. But alright guys. I think I'm gonna call it a night. I gotta start doing. I haven't done my Thanksgiving food prep yet, man. I'm smoking a turkey tomorrow. I'm smoking some chuck roast. Like, I'm doing collard greens. I'm doing a lot of stuff, man. So I'm gonna go get into my food prep. But as always, thank you guys for joining. I did pose a question the other day in my Discord chat. I'm thinking about on that, man. Shout out to Lord Avix, who suggested it in the first place. I might start doing a weekend live stream. Now I'm not gonna do it this weekend. Everybody is doing Thanksgiving stuff here in the States and World Cup and everything else. But it may be something I want to do in the future. So let me know, man. Let me know if that's something that you're interested in. Let me know in the comments. Let me know on Discord. And but yeah, happy Thanksgiving to all you guys in America. Enjoy some World Cup for all of us, because I'm a huge football fan. And I do call it football because that's what it is. And yeah, man, I'll see you guys on the battlefield. Freeze.